As the world moves into an era of technological advancements, one thing that has everyone praying for it to become a reality is the real-world implementation of self-driving vehicles. Companies are putting everything into developing this technology, and when they run out of funds, they try attracting investors to double down on the tech. In today's video, we're going to take a look at Intel's self-driving company, Mobileye, and its decision to file for an IPO. First up, they got a little too ambitious with the numbers. We know that Intel owns a firm named Mobileye, and it uses this division to develop self-driving technology. In fact, the company was actually an Israel-based company that was later acquired by Intel for about $15.3 billion back in 2017. Now the company builds software and hardware used in cars that take advantage of autonomous driving, and these include Level 2, Level 3, and also Level 4 vehicles. According to a filing by the Securities and Exchange Commission, the company has filed for an initial public offering, also known as an IPO. Adding to that, Bloomberg even reported that Intel was overambitious with Mobileye's IPO at first by expecting it to be worth $50 billion. But after realizing that this was a little too steep, they reduced the estimate to $30 billion. Now, this shouldn't come as a surprise given that the company's own SEC filing reveals that profit has been increasing over the years. It's slow and gradual, but it is increasing nonetheless. Starting in 2019 with $879 million, the company jumped to $967 million in 2020, and later on it was followed by a whopping $1.4 billion in profit in the year 2021. Up next, let's look at how this will benefit Intel. To start things off, let's talk about the realistic valuation of the company. As we mentioned earlier, Intel was looking at a $30 billion estimation for Mobileye, but when the company finally went public, it came down to $17 billion in valuation, which is far below what Intel was expecting, and so the company offered 41 million shares at a value of $21 each. But the good news is that Intel was able to raise $861 million out of this on the 26th of October. The $17 billion valuation is higher than what the company was bought at, but it's not even half of what Intel was looking to get for it when they estimated it at $50 billion initially. Still, it's amazing how the company has maneuvered through such a volatile stock market. This is also why Pat Gelsinger, CEO of Intel, defended the move by saying that it's not a capital raise, but rather a decision to take the company into the market. Following up, let's talk about Mobileye and its purpose. Mobileye was founded in 1999 by two people, Amnon Shashua and Ziv Aviram. Typically, the company builds SoCs, also known as systems on a chip, for driverless cars. But when it comes to Mobileye, it also develops the software and features used to perform driver assistance and autonomous driving, so the SoC acts as the backbone of the system. In a way, Mobileye is a complete company like Apple, and what we mean by that is it develops both hardware and software for its technologies, allowing it to build a seamless experience without depending on a third party, which is always a win for the user as well as the company itself. Along with that, Mobileye also uses a crowdsourcing platform called Road Experience Management. This allows them to build out 3D maps using real-time data. They gather this data by installing the Mobileye tech onto vehicles and then extracting said data. In fact, not too long ago, the company announced one of its most advanced chips yet. And if we're being honest, calling a new chip the most advanced yet is just another trick that they have stolen from Apple. Let's learn about Intel's plan to make Mobileye public. Rewind back to 2021, and Intel first announced its plans to take the company public. Gelsinger believes that announcing an IPO is simply the best way to build upon the legacy of Mobileye and to further strengthen its vision. If you think about it, this also creates an amazing opportunity for people to find value in their investments. The CEO even said that many of the earnings made via the IPO would be reinvested in the company to build more chip plants and further advance current technologies. To prove that he's right, Intel is currently working on a $20 billion chip facility in Ohio, and just last year it invested a similar amount in plants in Arizona that do the exact same thing. Lastly, what are the plans after the company goes public? Mobileye has already helped companies such as Volkswagen, Nissan, and BMW by supplying its technology to them. But you can't survive in today's tech world if you're only supplying the raw materials, which in this case is the technology and chips that car companies build upon to give out a final product in the shape of a vehicle. And Mobileye understands this very well, so it is hinted numerous times that it plans to develop its own vehicles as well, but these would be used for deliveries and ride-hailing services. Having said that, these plans include launching a a self-driving taxi in Germany as well as a delivery service as early as 2023. And to further strengthen the investors' confidence in its plans, Mobileye is looking to partner up with Geely to launch self-driving vehicles in the country. In fact, autonomous vehicles are already being tested out in New York City. Now, moving on to other related news. First up, Japan has decided to go big on autonomous vehicles. We've all come to know Japan is one of the most technologically advanced nations in the world. To stay true to its identity, the country has put forward a plan to integrate self-driving cars into its existing system. Starting this spring, Japan plans to allow almost autonomous cars onto the roads, but in a limited capacity. This might be a huge deal for individual owners, but there's a lot of potential for public transport. Think about driverless buses and taxis. Adding to that, the nation police agency plans to lift a ban that restricted Level 4 autonomous vehicles from operating on the roads without a driver. The agency is going to let go of the restriction no later than April of next year, and the move is a result of local companies pushing out self-driving technology for the masses. Clearly, this shows that authorities are ready to engage with their population and companies trying to bring something new to the table. As for now, the Japanese government hopes to bring these types of vehicles to almost 40 areas by 2025 and then increase this number to 100 by 2030. Next up, we have Tesla preparing to hurt the planet. In a move that's totally the opposite of what the company has come to be known for, Tesla has begun clearing a German forest to acquire land for the expansion of its Gigafactory in Berlin. Believe it or not, a total of 173 acres of land could be cleared for this expansion. A spokesman for the automaker said that it's working on an application to increase storage and logistics capacity at its Grünheide facility. This confirmed the reports that have been circulating in the media for a while now, and it's pretty surprising because any such move requires permission from local environmental authorities, and with some of them already accusing the company of using way too much water and threatening local wildlife, one can only wonder how such a massive expansion project was approved in the first place. In fact, with the company's eventual plan to expand a total of 247 acres, there's a lot more damage coming up. The most annoying bit about this entire thing is how the company has always claimed to be environmentally friendly and wants to provide alternatives to unsustainable resources, but when it comes to their own operations, they're just doing the opposite, and there's no other way to see this. Finally, a little on Argo AI and its demise. Autonomous vehicle startup Argo AI is shutting down just after 6 years after its birth. And even though Ford and Volkswagen invested billions of dollars into the company, now it's time to say goodbye to all that funding. Ford, as a major investor in the company, noted that the company was being shut down and that engineers from it would be hired and reintegrated into the company to develop Level 2 and Level 3 vehicles instead of the fully autonomous Level 4 ones that Argo AI was focusing on. In fact, the shutdown also means that the technology being developed for Level 4 would be repurposed for the lower Tier 2 and 3 vehicles. Having said that, Ford also revealed that the reason for the shutdown was that the company couldn't attract new investors and that it was going into loss every passing year. Plus, it's worth noting that Argo AI had almost 2,000 employees who are now going to be unemployed. They're still going to receive bonuses as part of their severance package, but how Ford and Volkswagen plan to employ all of them is yet unclear. Well, that's a wrap for this video. What do you think of Mobileye's IPO? Would you like to invest in it? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. And we'll see you in the next one.